We've got a brand new bow. Let's go through the setup process. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Roger from Backcountry Bowhunting. Our goal here is to equip and to encourage folks. We've got a brand new Bear Kuma 30. We need to set it up. We're going to start with the rest and the D-loop. This is just the beginning of a series, so make sure you stay tuned to the next videos. Let's get going. Okay, the first step in this whole process is to go ahead and cut our D-loop material to the proper length. It's going to be different probably for everybody, and this is my opinion. I know a lot of folks will tie their D-loop material on with a long tag end. That way it's a little easier to tie. But what I found is that I need a D-loop that has a total length of 4 1/4 inches. Now, why is that important? Well, the reason I feel it's important is because it's the only place in our system of release, the strap on the release head, and the draw length that we can monkey with things, that we can change the length of that. My draw length is a fixed distance. My anchor point is in a certain spot. The way I want to put my finger around the release trigger, I want to do that a certain way. Therefore, the only thing that I can tweak is the length of the D-loop. Now, I found for me that 4 1/4 inches is the perfect length. Now, that's overall length. So the way we do this, it's really simple. We'll take one end, we'll burn it, and then measure out just a little over 4 1/4. So maybe 4 3/8, because you'll use up about 1/8 of an inch in the cutting and burning process. So there we go. Don't tell my wife I'm cutting on the picnic table, okay? Real easy. Take the end of this, blossom it out a little bit. That'll help turn that into a ball. It's a little breezy out here, as you can probably tell. There we go. We're ready to install it. Be right back. Okay, this part is actually a pretty easy part. Where we're shooting for is pretty much on this particular bow, about the middle of the serving here. Ultimately, what we're going to be aiming for is even with the burger buttonholes. We're just going to tie on the top part, or the top loop, the top knot on the loop, and then we'll go on to the rest of it. But essentially, all this is a girth hitch. Pretty simple. That's a girth hitch. So what we do is we work all the slack out, so that ball is up against the loop. Now, one thing just to be aware of, it's not only the ball on the end of the D-loop material that keeps that from slipping through, it's also the type of knot it is. So if you can't get a real big ball, like that's not a real big ball, but that'll be plenty big enough for what we're going to do here. Also, if you've got a pair of needle nose pliers, you're going to need them a little later, is you can give a good tug on this with a pair of needle nose pliers to snug that up a bit, because what we're going to do now that we've got the rest installed, which it's not set or anything, I just bolted it on through the 2 bolts through the burger button holes here, got the rest in the up position. So what we're going to do is we're going to take an arrow, put it through the rest, and we're going to get this, the arrow and the string, at a 90-degree angle. So we'll adjust this up and down, we'll adjust the rest up and down so that the shaft goes through the center of the burger button holes, and we've got a 90-degree angle right here. Let's do that. Okay, now that we've got the top knot of the D-loop tied, we've put our arrow on, and this is where, obviously by now, if you haven't put your rest on, go ahead and put it on and just eyeball it. Get things close. This doesn't have to be perfect, because we're going to go through paper tuning and broadhead tuning. We're going to get everything fine-tuned at that point. But what we're looking for is 90-degree angle here, and as the shaft goes through the center of those burger button holes. Now if you've got a drop away rest, make sure your rest is in the full up position, whatever brand you've got. This is a Trophy Ridge Sync MD. It's got micro adjust on it. Man, I love it. It's on the sights and on the rest. Having micro adjust for stuff like this makes things a breeze, especially when we get to the broadhead tuning part. But just takes a calibrated eyeball, really, and you need to come down just a little bit. And because this is not on real tight, I can move it with my hands, which this is part of the reason that I don't put the bottom knot on yet. I'll put it on here in just a moment, but the rest is just a smidgen high, it looks like. That looks like 90 degrees, but that rest is just a little bit high. Let me tweak this. I'll be right back. All right, a little bit of adjustment here on the elevation of the rest. Now, with my calibrated former Air Force eyeballs that I need glasses to use now, this is pretty close to a 90-degree angle. Arrows running through the center of the burger button holes. Now the thing to do is windage, the left and right part of the rest. Now, take a look at this picture. This is the picture that I'm looking for. Ultimately, what it is this line in the grip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sight down the string. I'm going to line the string with this line, or actually it's a groove on the grip, and then I'm going to look up the string and also out the arrow, and I'm going to look to see where the point of the arrow is. At this angle, I should see the point when everything is adjusted correctly. I should see the point of the arrow in line, actually the whole shaft of the arrow, in line with the string. Well, I've got the string also lined up with this right here. So take a look at the picture again. You'll see exactly what I'm looking for. Adjust the rest in or out, whatever needs to be done. And like I said, this is where these micro adjust rests really come in handy. So all you've got to do is loosen this this Allen nut right here. Couple little turns on this, or half a turn, which you'll spend half the day trying to do it if you don't have that micro adjust. It just, bottom line, makes it super easy. My opinion, it's well worth the extra bucks to get a rest that has that. Once you've got that centered, it's time to tie on the bottom knot of our D-loop, and then we're ready to start paper tuning. Okay, this final part here. If you remember earlier, I said you're going to need some needle nose pliers. Go ahead and set those off to the side. We're going to need them here in just a moment. Now, when it comes to tying this last knot, if you look here, we came around on the bottom side or on the right side of the string. What we want to do is come around on the opposite side. Doesn't matter which side of the string you're on the left or the right, but it does matter that you tie the knots on opposite sides. And the reason for that is so that when you're pulling back, you're actually pulling back in the center of the string. If you've got the knots on one side, you're not pulling back in the center of the string, and when that string lets go, it's going to arc, you know, either way depending upon where the knots are orientated. But let's get on with the knot here. So we go around the opposite side, up through the bottom, down and around, and then back through the hole we just went through. Just like that. Pull out the slack. Here's where the pliers come in. You don't need to put a lot of pressure in this, but just run your pliers down through here, tighten up that bottom knot. The top knot should be tight enough, it doesn't go anywhere. You don't need to put a whole lot of pressure in there. They do make some pliers, I guess you call them pliers, reverse pliers. One that grips the string on this side, and it's got another little tongue that comes out and pushes on the D-loop. You can purchase those if you want, but trusty pair of needle nose, these are really old, work just fine. All right, now one more thing and we're ready to start shooting. And one thing I forgot to mention is an alternative way of checking for center shot, and that's to take another arrow and lay it on the edge of the riser. Then you can sight down the two arrows, see if they're parallel or not, and then make whatever adjustments you need to for that. Another way, I mentioned that there was one more thing that we needed to do, and for me that's to tie in the activation cord on the rest. If you're shooting with a whisker biscuit, you're good to go. Go paper tune, go start shooting, enjoy your afternoon, enjoy your evening. If you found this video helpful, please, if you would, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell if you want to be notified when our next videos are coming out. Installing the rest and getting it timed right, and then paper tuning, that's our next couple of videos. We'll also be going through tying in a peep sight, how to do that. I hope you'll join us. God bless.